I actually joined Bright Horizons over 18 years ago after a long career in healthcare. And I actually had no interest in joining Bright Horizons. I had got called from a search firm, and they were looking for a female operator who had multi-site management in a service industry, and I was doing that in the healthcare field. And I actually came to Bright Horizons just kind of interested more to find out what they were about, and had, as I said, no real interest in coming into the childcare field. But I got captivated by the culture here. I'm Marianne Tosio, and I am the President and Chief Operating Officer for Bright Horizons. Bright Horizons is the world's leading provider of employer-supported childcare, early education, and work-life solutions. We're located, our headquarters is in Watertown, Massachusetts, and we have childcare centers and schools in 44 states in the U.S. and in 4 countries. We're not right for everybody, and everybody isn't right for us. I do find today there is a much richer talent pool, but again, what makes it right for somebody to work for us and for us for that employee is, for the most part, it's somebody really, whether they're a childcare teacher in the centers or providing services to the field, it really, we're a company that attracts people that are really mission-oriented. In all honesty, any executive in this company could earn more in another industry. It's really not why we're here. You certainly as an executive care about a certain level of compensation, but we could all earn more money in other fields. There's no question about that. At the executive level, a big part of our compensation is really more on equity, long-term equity, based on the performance of the company. Base pay is generally below the market.
I think we all have this saying here: if you're not caring for children, you're caring for someone that is. Hi, I'm Dan Henry, and I'm the Chief Human Resources Officer for Bright Horizons. We could differentiate, and in many organizations there are packages for executives and there are packages for people who are working quote unquote on the front line. We don't do that. So we annually survey the market. We try to ensure that we're paying particularly for our teachers, at the higher end of the market, and that we're very competitively priced. But again, bearing in mind that parents help to afford teacher pay. So it's always balancing what is an affordable rate of tuition for the marketplace with what we can afford to pay in that marketplace. What we don't have in our executive packages, mine included, are perquisites. We just don't take them because, again, we're an organization that is familial and has a sense when it comes to compensation that we need to be reasonable at every level, including the executive level. Yeah, our reward structure, as it relates to sustaining a great place to work, is probably driven less by compensation than it is by culture, although the two have a role to play together. So we do have compensation rewards that recognize differentiated levels of performance. As for an example, we annually recognize one teacher per division. We call them our Janice Hill Award winners. We just did this a week or so ago. Each of those teachers receives a check for $1,000 for their exemplary contribution. A few years ago, we recognized that we have some directors these are our frontline leaders leading these centers, who've been in their roles, at the time I think it was 10 years, in their roles as directors, and we recognize them by giving them all expense paid trips to go visit the European operation and tour Europe. Many of them hadn't ever seen Europe. It was a chance for them to share program ideas, to share how we're making quality outcomes come to life for children in Europe and how we do that in the U.S. And it was also no small form of recognition for this group of directors who, frankly, I think value that more than they would have valued a small raise at that point. And so we use a wide range of vehicles. We use direct base pay, we use bonuses where we can, we use incentives where we can, we use a profit sharing plan where we can, and we have a limited option plan as well. So a very, very broad range of things that we do, but then we also make these non-traditional investments in people in other ways that some may or may not consider compensation. We very much consider it to be a part of the total cultural package that we're creating for people, not necessarily direct compensation.
But it does take a while to integrate a new curriculum component for the centers.
Because once we start including it in the newsletters, we'll be doing it every month. So we want to make sure that. I just actually in January got a promotion. So definitely I do feel that I'm fairly compensated. My name is Mumtaz Badshah, and I'm a communications project manager at Bright Horizons. I've had lots of different roles at Bright Horizons. I started as a teacher in one of our centers, and then I've been working now with the communications team for almost 7 years. So there is a formal structure, so we obviously have the annual reviews, but it's a very open environment, so you really can talk to people, when you sort of feel that you need new skills, and so they're constantly evaluating what you do. And I was really given a lot of different opportunities to learn new things and try out different projects. And when I saw the opportunity to do different things, I kind of presented that to the people I was working with, and they're always open to have people grow. And then it's based on the performance. So, annual reviews, and there's 6-month reviews that you do. And there's a lot of feedback that is requested from your teammates and the other people that you work with and collaborate with, so that your manager gets a good sort of overview of not just your individual performance, but how you work with other people. So I think that it's a very nice sort of environment where you feel that they are measuring your performance, but in relation to all of the different roles that you play.
I think our rewards and recognition program actually can always be better. In fact, 2 years ago, or actually last year, we just rebranded it because we do lots of things in rewards and recognition. Our challenge is sometimes getting people to recognize that it's a part of rewards and recognition. Because we're just an organization that can be so good at just saying general thank yous, that people sometimes don't give us the programmatic credit that we'd want attributed to it. So we're doing a much better job of trying to connect specific things that happen for people to a specific program. But at the end of the day, if that's our problem, it's a fairly high-class problem. If people are being thanked and they don't know why, that's a high-class problem for us to have.